We are live, Power Punchers podcast in D-Style. I am bunkered down. I am coming from an undisclosed location this week in the bunker.
Hiding from the bombs. Hiding from the bombs that are coming tonight. You know what I mean?
I'm in an undisclosed
That's
bunker
right.
that may or may not be a bathtub behind me. It may or may not be. If
Who
the
knows?
bombs come, that's where I'm laying down. So,
That's right.
uh,
That's right.
but this is where we're at this week. We got another episode of Power Punchers this week. We got boxing trivia coming later in the show. Run PMC was back on top last week. Let's see if he can defend and become back to back multiple champions. Let's see. We got Shoeshine in the building. We also got VQ Chris in the building. What's good to him? And y'all hit that like button as you come in. Please hit that like button as you come in. And let's get straight to this. I don't know if you saw, Tyson Fury is back in the news. As always, Tyson
Right.
Fury is out there. He's going to be facing Dillian Whyt, it looks like, in the spring. What'd you make of that news before we get to the pay-per-view part of it?
Well, first of all, I felt it was interesting, for one. I did not think this purse bid would even happen. They kept postponing it, but it did end up happening. Frank Warren comes in, like, first of all, Matchroom's like, we got 32 million. You know what I mean? I'm like, Arum's out. Arum ain't gonna put 32 million for this fight. And then Frank Warren shows up 41 million. You know what I mean? Like just think about that. He's like 40. He showed up with the bags, with the suitcases. You know what I mean? He showed up with a mob and shit. Okay. Now there's already rumors, MT Global, mobsters, all that. So I don't want to start rumors, but he showed up with it, man. You know what I mean? He might have sold his house or some shit. I don't know. He came up with that money.
I tell you what, that's going to have to be massive for them to make up that money. Massive.
Right.
Massive. I mean, that's probably why it's a pay-per-view in the U.S. Is that a pay-per-view caliber fight to you? Because in the U.S., it is not to me. You know how many times Dillian Whyt's fought in the U.S., D-Style?
Never, probably once.
Once.
I'm trying to remember who he fought. I know.
And
Can't remind, but
I still don't think, like, do you think Tyson Fury is a big star in the U.S.? I mean, I know he's a heavyweight champion, the heavyweight champion, but is he a huge star to where he can headline pay-per-views against a non-American fighter in the U.S.? This is two UK-based fighters fighting in the U.S. on a U.S. pay-per-view.
I mean,
One of
look,
them's only fought in the U.S. once.
it's definitely a pay-per-view fight in the UK, right? For sure.
Oh, yeah. Huge fight out there.
They could make it pay-per-view here, but they got to drop the price, bro. Charge what you charge the people in the UK. Charges are $19. Charges are $20 at least. Okay. But if I'm Arum, I mean, because he's kind of working with Warren, right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to convince him, like, let's have Tyson Fury in the afternoon, like, in the US on ESPN. That's what I would do. And I do think it'll get a good 2-3 million viewers for sure, So that's what I would do personally. But, obviously he's trying to make up as much of that money as possible. And if he could sell 200,000, get a couple of that, from the US market, they're banking on the UK bringing that money for the most part, right? They're just trying to subsidize as much as possible but me, I'm saying to myself, think long term, put them on ESPN, get them more exposure in the afternoon, and ESPN will give you some type of sanctioning money for it, and it'll subsidize it a little bit. You know what I mean?
Or as G Funky would say, let's do it for free 99. Free 99.
That's what I mean, ESPN.
Right.
But if they're going to do a pay-per-view, why do we get charged more, bro? Like, what's going on? Why do UK dudes pay 20? We pay 79.99. Makes no sense.
I don't know, but if
they sell it for 20, it does at least $300,000. 300,000 buys.
Shout out to Tony Boswell in the chat. He says much respected Cal's Boxing D Style came to show support and hit that like button. Hit that like button as y'all come if y'all do one thing. And here's another one. If Thurman versus Barrios is a pay-per-view in the U.S., Fury versus Whyt is a mega fight in the U.S., it adds to the pay-per-view the weariness that I'm getting. If I wanted to pay for 12 pay-per-views per year, D-style, guess what I would be? I would become a UFC fan.
Right.
But I'm not. I don't want to watch pay-per-view after pay-per-view after pay-per-view. But at least those guys, I talk to UFC fans all the time, and guess what? They're happy. They're happy because they get loaded cards in general, and good main events in general, and the best fighting the best in general.
Like their exception, like their rule is they get it often. There's an exception to the rule. Our exception to the rules when we do get shit, right? Like, oh, but what about that one time we got there? Okay, bro. What about the other times? But I get it. I'm not too keen on it. If it's going to be pay-per-view in the UK, it's going to be in the afternoon here in the US. And I just don't know, man. Like they're going to be competing with baseball. They're going to be competing with like basketball. They're going to be competing with a lot of things. Probably. I think college basketball will be over by then, but still, like they're competing with a lot of stuff. And I don't know if they want to do that, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like just free ESPN. It'll get Fury more exposure. That's the way to do it, in my opinion.
They might be thinking Fury's on his way out anyway. So everything Fury does from here on out is going to be pay-per-view in the States.
But I'm telling you, I know what Frank Warren's thinking. He's like, look, I don't care if it only does 100,000 in the US. I'm going to make up some of that money right there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is, to be honest.
Yeah. The 41 million is huge, humongous. There's going to be a big fight out there. Fury versus Whyt will be in Wales. I'm not sure where it's going to be. I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be in a soccer stadium somewhere. But I wish they would.
I'll bullshit aside, just really quick. I have family members that will watch reruns of boxing, like on TV, and like they won't know it's a rerun. But, look at this fight, bro! It's a good fight. Holy, I haven't seen a fight like this in years. Like, bro, that fight happened like two weeks ago. So they're still gonna get a replay on ESPN. Watch.
That's like what I did with the Bills Patriots game a couple weeks ago when I was texting you.
Yeah, like
you guys are doing great. The game was from 3 weeks
and
ago.
Your average Joe's gonna watch him beat up Whyt, and they're not gonna know it was live or not until they tell them it wasn't live, right? So they're still gonna get some freeness out of it. Now that I think about it.
Yeah. Shout out to Haplo, K Pasa, Cabrones, Haplo in the building.
Shout out to Haplo. Shout out to the one and only Calzaghe, the best 168-pounder of all time, baby. Let's go.
Carl Froch got robbed. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
That was a tough class, bro. That was a tough class. They just had to put Mayweather like 3 years in, not 5 anymore, right? It just had to happen. Cotto too.
Let's see. The Zone has best offer in turn per capita. UK has more money, and the US has lots of legal. I don't know. 41 million almost guarantees that takes a loss on this. I agree, man. That's massive. That is massive. Shout out to Nando in the building. Nando will be here for boxing trivia. Let's see if he can get back on the board with boxing trivia. And Calzaghe, Froch with Crutch. Whatever. The Froch hate continues. But what do you think a year from now? A year from now, let's look out. Who do you think is going to be on top in the paper in the heavyweight division? You got Fury. You got Dillian Whyt in the mix now. You got Anthony Joshua. You got Usyk. Those are pretty much your guys to choose from. Whoever comes out of that.
I mean, I don't know. Like big baby. There's guys, Herkovich, big baby, not Miller, by the way.
But 1 year from now, though.
It could be in a year. Yeah, in a year. Remember,
nobody's going to even fight Herkovich.
Fury was just another, like Fury was just like another dude, and then he beat Klitschko in the top of the world. Like, all I'm saying is, one of these guys can get a belt. Like, Herkovich being avoided a little bit, just saying. I mean, big babies out there. So a lot could happen in a year, especially if Fury retires after a Whyt fight, or if Usyk like knocks out AJ, then who's left for him to fight, really, right? But to answer your question, I think It's going to be Usyk Fury, I think. I want to say AJ, but AJ hasn't even found a trainer yet. And he swears he's going to fight Usyk again. Like Rocky already had Apollo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mickey died. He wanted the rematch, and Apollo showed up the next day. He already had a trainer. You know what I mean? And that's a movie. Okay? Just think about that. And he barely beat Clubber Lang. Like, what the hell is AJ going to do? He don't even have a trainer yet. Right? And this ain't a movie. And he's going to be fighting the Road Warrior, bro. Like, this dude goes to people's home countries and beats them in their home country. Like every opponent in that Super Series he was in, he became a title holder, unified champion, and undisputed champion at cruiserweight, all on the road. Okay, and he became the unified champion on the road, bro. And his fight before that was on the road when he beat Chisora. This dude, like I'm telling you right now, him versus the Gypsy King, like bro, you ain't the Traveler, bro. The Traveler's Usyk. I'm just saying. But that's what I'm looking at next year.
Okay, it's out of 4 guys because you're bringing up Hercevic. That dude, he had 2 more people duck him today. Just won't fight him.
Well, look, when your name rhymes with "hurt the bitch," then ain't nobody want to fight him. I'm just saying, ain't nobody wants a piece of that dude. Like, Mason, hurt my ass. I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
It's not going to be a year from now. It's got to be one of these 4 guys. So who's going to be at the top? Guess what's going to happen? Usyk's going to beat AJ. AJ's not going to beat him. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So Fury's going to beat Dillian. That's going to happen. I think he's going to do it easily. So it's going to come down to Fury and Usyk. And I'm telling you right now, D-Style, I'm telling you right now, Usyk, a year from now, right now, what is it, January 31st, 2022? January 31st, 2023, Usyk will be recognized globally as the number 1 heavyweight. I think if he gets that Fury fight, I think he's going to win.
He might be number 1 in the power rankings. I mean, who knows?
Fury is on record as saying Cunningham was his toughest fight because the smaller guy with quickness, with speed, gave him issues. And Usyk, smaller guy, speed, much more technical, much better, much more well-rounded fighter.
More filled out. Yeah.
I think he's going to give Fury some issues. That's my pick. I think
Usyk's not that like. Look, the Usyk camp, they did their job. Like they planned going to heavyweight perfectly. You know what I mean? He even stayed there for like 1 more fight or 2 fights. Or I think Bellew, I don't know who you see for anybody else. He just stayed around a little longer, cruiserweight. He acclimated to the weight, fought an old, washed up freaking Witherspoon. But that was just to stay busy while he was filling in, getting bigger. Then he fought a Chisora, a very physical inside fighter, right? That many said would be a problem for Usyk. I mean, he got through that. And then, look, he just beat Joshua, right? A big, massive dude. And, bro, this was over 220 pounds. Usyk's weighing over 220 pounds, and he looks good at that weight. Yeah. You know? It wasn't just like a sudden thing he did. Like, there was a method behind it. And not like a Cunningham who always weighed, even as a heavyweight, 205, 203. He acclimated to the weight, and I feel he kept the speed, and I think he gained a little bit of power in the process.
We appreciate the super chat, Nando. And Nando says AJ doesn't need more skills. He needs more ruthless aggression, quit the cute stuff, and lean on fools. Do not count him out. Now, that's the thing, though. We know what he needs. Can he execute it is the question. We know why he's in America, right? We know why he's scouting American trainers. He wants that dog in him. He wants that dog brought out of him. He knows that he has to get more aggressive. He knows he has to become the older AJ where he's more aggressive and knocking guys out instead of this more technical AJ who sits back and allows guys to outbox him and allows guys to get him to fight on the back foot. The question, D-Style, is can he do that? Can he do that in one fight? Because he's not taking $15 million or whatever in step-aside money. He wants that immediate rematch. Can he do that in one fight?
The answer is no, because look, he doesn't have a trainer yet. Look, one of the most dominant heavyweights we've had in a long time is Vladimir Klitschko. Okay? Hate him, love him, I don't like him, whatever it is. He lost his first fight under Emmanuel Stewart. Okay?
True.
Luckily, he believed in the system, right? They use that term in other sports, and he stuck with it, and it worked out for him in the long run. Like, bro, one fight, Valdez, it took him more than one fight with Reynoso. You know what I mean? Plenty of guys, they need more than that one fight. It's just not enough, especially against a guy that has a blueprint to beat you. Okay?
Even you've been with a trainer for a while. Like somebody brought this up on Twitter earlier. I don't know who it was, but they said that Canelo was getting a lot of pressure to leave Reynoso after the Mayweather fight, but he stuck with the plan, and look where it got him.
I'll tell you what I believe is going to happen. Okay? I happen to believe, right, that Whyt might knock out Fury. AJ might knock out Usyk, and we will get the rematch of the ages. AJ versus Whyt for the undisputed. Yeah, right.
It could happen.
What are the odds for that, by the way? I wonder what the odds for that to happen.
I'd say about 10%, something like that. Very low. Very low.
I'm talking like Vegas. How much will Vegas have? Like Whyt winning, prop it with like AJ winning. It's probably like bet 100, win 20,000 or some shit like that, you know?
Yeah, it'd be quite the payoff. There's no doubt about it. Appreciate that, Nando. Appreciate the support. Haplo says, Nando, that's true. He doesn't have the cojones, though. That's the big question is we all know what he needs to do. The question is, can he execute it? And really, it comes down to what he's saying. It's a dog type mentality that he needs. But he has shown that in the past that he has. But you're on a different level now. You're fighting guys who know how to deal with that. Usyk knows how to deal with that. I just don't see him being able to make the proper adjustments to beat a Usyk in his next fight. I just don't see that. And even if he were to take,
I'll be honest,
Usyk, still.
Look, if I was him, and like if you really are going to fight him again, just go back with McCracken. Like just go back with your trainer and give it a shot because I don't care who it is, bro. He could bring back Customato from the grave. Okay, I mean it doesn't matter who it is. Okay, Emmanuel Stewart could come back, from the heavens. Like God give him permission just to train. AJ, he ain't gonna win, bro. It's not enough time. I thought he would have had a trainer by now. Honest to God, he doesn't have a trainer yet.
He might in his head know who he's going with already, and just hasn't.
So just go with him.
I don't know. It just seems low.
Why showing up with jeans and Under Armour tee to talk to these trainers with your arms crossed? Like, you know what I mean? Like interviewing them. Like, what are you doing? Just bro, come on, let's go.
While Floyd sits with his arms folded, watching him hit the bag, right? But everything I've noticed with AJ now is calculated. I think he's got a team. I think he's got a social media presence. I think he has people running his social media account, doing all this. I think he has a team, and they're very calculated. And I think they already know who they're going with, and they're waiting for the right moment to unveil it. That's what I think as far as AJ. I think everything is very calculated with this guy, but that's the issue, right? Everything is calculated, especially in the ring. Everything is calculated. We need that thrown out the window. We need off the cuff AJ.
Do you remember Speedy Gonzalez?
Inside the ring and outside the ring. We don't want another heavyweight champion like Vladimir Klitschko, who everything is calculated, chess master. We need a heavyweight champion like Tyson Fury, like Deontay Wilder, guys who are off the cuff, fun. That's what we want, right?
That's what we want, absolutely.
So enough with all that calculated stuff. Get that dog in you, AJ. Let's go. Now let's get to this list. We got a list. And this is not a pound for pound list, right, D-Style? This is not a pound for pound list.
It is not. Although pound for pound, it's part of it. You know what I mean?
It's part of the list.
It could influence it for sure.
I think in my case, there's a good bit of influence in pound for pound, but there are other criteria. Yes. Now, the name of this list. Why don't you go with the name of the list? It's the Impact.
The Impact. Oh my God, I named the list and I forgot the name of the list, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Oh my God, what was the name of the list? I forgot the name of the list. So the
Let me go with the criteria first.
sure. The impact power rankings. There we
There
go.
it is. Power
It's
ranking.
the impact power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. Right. So it's brand new. Okay, we just came up with it, but so think of it this way, right? It's everything. It's what have you done for me lately? What
Mm-hmm.
type of impact do you have on the sport? What's your standing in the sport as a fighter? That's where pound for pound comes in. You know, you could even encompass a little bit of what you've done in your career on it, you know, although you lose leverage further it is away, right? So it's all of that, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's not just a fighter, it's any boxing personality, trainer, promoter, hell, if a manager is making noise, whatever it is, it's everybody. You know what I mean? What type of impact is power punchers, not just like, you know, it's not just literally but figuratively speaking. That's what it's a power punchers, literal and figuratively speaking list. It's about impact. If you have a knockout of the year, can it bring you up the rankings? If you have a great fight, if you have a dominant performance, if you have a big accomplishment, if you make fights happen, if something you do in a sport makes a big impact in the sport, it's everything. All right. That's what the impact power list comes from. And no, Suleiman did not come up with the list, but he might be on the list. You never know. I'm just saying. All right. Like I'm just saying. Now we could have done like a pound for pound list like everybody else does. You know, we could have done that, but
It's too easy.
it's too easy, brother. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Not only is it too
And
easy.
nobody gets a diamond belt for being number one on the list, by the way. I'm just saying. That's why Mari Show has nothing to do with it, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. This is power rankings. This is who has the most impact on the sport. Let me give you some criteria as far as a fighter. We go by fights.
Sure.
We go by signed fights, who they have signed next. Like, are they active? Did they just fight? Do they have a fight next already signed or some sort of agreement? Social media presence. Are they out there? Are they getting buzz? Activity. Like I said, are they active? Level of competition. That's a big one with me. Resume. And being in news stories, current events. Are these guys relevant at the time? That's another one. As far as promoters, managers, type of fights they're making. What type of fights are they making? Are they doing cross promotional events? Are they drawing on fight cards with value, consistency, social media, value to customer? Are they giving us what the fight is worth? Big things like, are they giving us Thurman versus Barrios on
A
pay
pay
per
per
view?
view.
Are they giving us Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson on regular TV? Value to customer. So this is a top 11 list. The reason we're going with the top 11 list is, as always, everybody does a top 10, so we want to be different. But it also brings it back to the Hailstorm days when Hailstorm had top 11 lists because Isaiah
Again,
Thomas was his
everybody does
favorite
top
player.
10. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
everybody does a
like I'm
top
just saying, right? Like top, the 10 commandments, top 10 pound for pound, the top 10 quarterbacks of all time, the top 10. You know what I mean? Like I guess 10 makes it official in the words of George Carlin. You know what I mean? But we're going to go 11, just for the sake of it. Plus, everybody always wants to have that one extra guy anyway. They always throw in like an honorable mention anyway, right? So we're going to make it top 11, ladies and gentlemen.
And Lil Penny says Don King was the best promoter ever. Is, right? Because he just did Macabo
Right.
in
I mean, he
Chile.
might be on the list, ladies and gentlemen, after, the magic he worked to give Makabu that decision. Hey, Don King still got
it. So let's start off the list from the top. It's easy at number one, right?
Oh, it's easy at
Easy.
number one. I mean, it's
We
good to
both did
begin,
separate. How we're doing this is we both did separate lists,
right?
and we had 8 of the 11. We had similar, all on the rankings. They were all on the rankings. Now the order was different, but they were all 8 were on our top 11. So we have the top 8 were in our 11, and then the 9 through 11 we'll debate here. But Canelo was number one on both of ours, right? And why do you think Canelo is number one?
Look, Canelo is coming off an active year, the fight of the year on most consensus. It's a consensus fighter of the year. We're fresh off that year. That's number one. Became undisputed, by the way. It's just still a great accomplishment. And it hasn't been that far since he's done it, right? Very active year, by the way. He's been all over the boxing news, making noise that way. There's rumors. Coppinger put stories about it, but Reynoso denied it. But Reynoso came out and said they wanted to fight Makabu. I mean, that's all part of it, right? Rumored that he's going to fight. Charlo is going to fight. Whoever's going to fight. Everybody's waiting for that big payday for Canelo, the sweepstakes. You know what I mean? And us fans are hoping it's a good opponent, so we could be excited about that, right? So Canelo, without a doubt, is having the biggest impact even right now in the sport of boxing. So he's got an iron fist on that number one, in my opinion. We're going to be doing this every week, so you never know. Somebody might knock him off. Never know, but as of right now, he's number one. Debuting at number one.
Yeah, to answer Lil Penny's question, it is current, and this is going to be a weekly thing. So it very much draws off of what
we might do Penny give me an idea. We could always do a historical power ranking of all time for sure. Good. That'll be interesting for sure.
We could. Now he says, Lil Penny says Ali could be number one. Are we talking about Ali's grandson that just fought?
He might be on this list. You never know, right? So let's keep going.
He did the Ali shuffle against a guy with like 27 losses, so he might have ended up on the
stiffest shuffle I've ever seen.
Canelo is the easy number one. Look, easy. I mean, there's not even a thought, and it's going to take quite a performance by somebody. Something crazy happening for somebody to dethrone Canelo at number one. Now, number two is where we started to had a fall off. But Tyson Fury, we have number two. Explain why we have Tyson Fury number two. I had him a little lower, you had him a little higher, but explain why we have him number two.
So, first of all, just got off defeating Deontay Wilder in that amazing trilogy. Fight of the year in the eyes of many. One of the best heavyweight fights in the eyes of many. That was a tremendous fight, and it wasn't that long ago. Okay, if he hadn't fought Wilder recently, he would not be this high on the list. Probably not on the list, period. But it was that big of a deal, that fight. Plus, just recently, you looked at the purse bid happened. It looks like he's going to be fighting Whyt. He's also in the news. I mean, he's all over social media. He's doing these. I wish he would have a shirt on, but he's doing all these videos without a shirt on, and talking shit to everybody. You know what I mean? He made headlines, made everybody think he's gonna fight Ndango, or what's his name? Ndanagu, or the UFC guy. What's his name?
Who is that?
The UFC champ.
Ngannou. Yeah.
Ngannou. Yeah. I said Ndango. Oh well, so yeah. He, what I mean. He was making headlines, and it was rumored he might. It's kind of a bummer, that he's not going to fight Usyk, but nonetheless, we'll take the Whyt fight. It's a long time coming, so why not? I think Whyt does deserve it at this point, But I have a number two, man, heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury, high up there.
I'm not mad at that fight. I would have rather go straight to undisputed, but I'm not mad at it. But like you said, it's what's happening. So Fury just won. I understand he only fought once in 2021, which I'm not happy with, but he just fought a couple months ago, and he's already got an agreed fight. It's not done, but an agreed fight, and it's going to be a big fight. And he's talking about undisputed, and he's out there on social media talking trash, so he's relevant. So we put him at number two.
Right, and just so you know, guys, these are power ranking. Let's say Canelo doesn't announce shit for a couple months, and you know what? He's not going to fight in May. He could very well fall off. He could start going 2, 3, 4. Like he could start falling off. Like this is not like pound for pound where guys stay on there for a whole year. Because, oh, look at his skills. Nah, there is more that goes into it, right? So just putting that out there.
Yeah, especially if something happens like Usyk getting a big knockout against AJ in a rematch or something like that, and Canelo doesn't fight. But I don't expect that to happen, but we'll see. Number three, we got none other than Alexander Usyk. Explain our logic behind that.
Well, look, first of all, he's the ultimate road warrior. Defeated AJ in London. Okay, in London, UK, anyway. He currently holds 3 of the 4 world titles. He's ready to fight AJ in a rematch. He's ready. He's set. again, the fight hasn't been that long ago. I mean, in September, got to announce a fight soon if he wants to stay this high or he wants to climb, of course. But that's why I got Usyk up there. I mean, I think he's made a lot of noise. Sure.
Yeah, you want to know why I love Usyk right now is he takes smaller percentages for fights in order to get the fight. He goes to different continents if he has to get certain
Right.
fights. He's the road warrior. So he makes sacrifices in order to get the legacy. And in turn, he's winning these fights. And he's got, guess what? Cruiserweight and heavyweight, he has 7 of the 8 major belts. He became
Yep.
undisputed at cruiserweight. He moves up to heavyweight. And in 3 fights, he's got 3 of the 4 major belts.
Yes, he does.
I mean, that's an incredible resume in a short amount of time. I think he's under 20 fights, and he's already done that.
That's right.
So incredible what this guy has done. I reward him based off of that. I would like to see him a little more active than fighting once a year in 2021, but I think that was out of his like I said, I think he's the type of guy who would fight 3 times a year. But a lot of this stuff is out of his hands. I think he had to wait for what was going on with AJ. He has to wait for the business side of the rematch clause and what's Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyt going to do. He's been waiting around, waiting his turn, and he's going to get it again, it looks like, in the spring. So
Yep.
Usyk, number 3. Number 4, we got our first promoter, Eddie Hearn. Explain our logic behind Eddie Hearn.
Well, let me tell you guys something, man. I mean, he's a boxing personality, obviously. He has delivered on making fights happen. He saved Theo Cambozas from the Triller debacle just recently, right? He has found a great replacement for Julio Cesar Martinez. I mean, just leave it at Eddie Hearn, right? Oh, man, Gallo's got COVID. Oh, my God, we're not going to get the trilogy. And boom, we're going to get like freaking Julio Cesar Martinez against Chocolatito. I think that's a great fight. He continues to put women's boxing on the map. I mean, just recently make that Taylor-Serrano fight. And consistently, I mean, no other promoters putting women on the map like he is, and he gives us good fights for a good bargain on the zone. I mean, that speaks for itself as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like the non-pay-per-view subscription-based model, although they may go to pay-per-views, unfortunately. But I like what he's doing. If you value women's boxing, he's certainly giving you that. And the social media presence is great with the zone. So good for him, man, thinking out the box. And to me, he's the top promoter out there. Number 5, we got Josh Taylor. Explain our logic behind Josh Taylor. To me, it's pretty self-explanatory, but go ahead.
Yeah, look, his last one was against Jose Ramirez for the undisputed title, 140. We're waiting for a big, impactful moment, though, to move up in the ranks,
right,
or to prevent him from slipping. He's at that point where if this was fresh, he might be like number 4 or something, but it's been a while, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he doesn't have that big fight lined up yet. So he's going to have I think it's a mandatory soon, but so he's in that zone where he might drop a little bit. Other guys are going to make impact, but as of right now, he's debuting at number 6 on the power rankings. I think that's a good spot. The thing with 140, it's a lot of equity. Like when you become undisputed, like we're going to give you more leeway for not doing much for a couple months than if you fought it like a nobody. You know what I mean? So Canelo's like undisputed. It's a little more fresh, and the Usyk and Joshua wins are a little more fresh. So but we'll see where Taylor goes. But he's there right now. Definitely big impact in the sport.
Yeah, he's there debuting at number 5, but he is doing a mandatory next month. So he is somewhat active compared to other fighters anyway. But a mandatory is not going to keep you in the top 5. So we'll see how far he slips in the next coming weeks or months. But right now he's number 5. Number 6, we got another Taylor. We got Katie Taylor, top female fighter, number 1 pound for pound. Explain our logic behind Katie Taylor, number 6. She's hot in the news right now.
I had her a little higher. Calix not as much, but we put her right in that spot. Katie Taylor has remained the undisputed welterweight champion and the women's top pound for pound and one of the most active on top of that women boxers out there. And I think boxing's in a good place when the number 1 pound for pound men's and the number 1 pound for pound women's are active. That's never a bad thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's a new bar for women's boxing in terms of pay, status, popularity. She has taken boxing to a new level. And just recently, I mean, that's big noise. I mean, she's going to be fighting Serrano in Madison Square Garden. You want to stay in the rankings? You announce a fight like that, and that's going to make an impact, and that's going to help you stay in the rankings. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like you don't think she's going to surpass Taylor in these rankings if she beats Serrano? I'm just saying. So that's where she is right now for me. That's a good spot. Number 6. That's a good spot.
It's a good spot. It's strong. And the fight's going to be announced for April 30th. That's also the same night, possibly, more likely, with Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez, which I think is a big fight. I love that fight.
Yes.
But I think we've gone to a place where it's not counter programming is not as much of a problem, right? I mean, it's easy to get around that. Live, what I'm going to be watching live, if both fights come on at the same time, which very rarely that happens, right? Usually there's somewhat.
They're smart. They know how to wait.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they'll be doing the entrances when the other fight's in round 10. You know what I mean? Like they know what they're doing.
I'm a Shakur Stevenson guy. I'm a fan, especially after his last fight. So I'll be watching Stevenson-Valdez live. That's the one. If they do go head to head, same time, that's the one I'll be watching live. But I know a lot of people who disagree with me. I tend to think that Stevenson-Valdez will get bigger numbers, but I could be wrong. But either way, that's a great night for boxing. Either way. And Katie Taylor, very deserving of that number 6 spot. Number 7, we got Inoue. Moving on. Now Inoue.
The most talked about boxer on the planet, bro. Every stream, people just shout out his name out of nowhere. You know. Anyway, like, well, what? Let me tell you something. This is why he's up there, number 7. His impact may be greater in Japan, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. But with boxing enthusiasts, the boxing purists, well, we know about Inoue, right? The monster has made noise, but he does need some assistance from Top Rank to move up these ranks. I don't think it's so much his fault, but he's considered top pound for pound. A lot of people have him top 5 pound for pound. So that's saying a lot. I think he needs an assistance from Top Rank. No, like put him on ESPN. Stop hiding him in the app. They didn't even televise his last fight in any way, shape, or form. So it is what it is. So Top Rank needs to help this guy so he can move up these rankings, in my opinion.
Right. I have him number 3 in my pound for pound. I have him number 7. We have him number 7 here on our power rankings. The reason he's lower on these power rankings is just what you said. 2021 was not a big year for him.
Yeah.
Although he was active compared to other fighters, fought twice, but it wasn't a big year for him because things just didn't develop. And I think a lot of that has to do with Top Rank. But the reason I love him is he's come to the States. He's become somewhat of he's not a casual star to casual fans, but to boxing fans, he's a star. And for a lower weight class guy from Japan, that's big. That's big. And so I have him a little lower, obviously, on this list, but that's due to I think things that are out of his hand. Hopefully, he gets his Donaire fight and moves up higher on these rankings because what an incredible talent this guy is. Now, number 8, and this is the last one we had similar on both of our rankings. Number 8, we have none other than Bob Arum, who is in the news right now. What do you think?
Well, look, Bob Arum, definitely news. But look, say what you want about the Bob father. He has delivered on free fights on ESPN that would have otherwise been on pay-per-view and other platforms. Okay, PBC, right? Okay, right. And they're better fights than the fights PBC is giving you on pay-per-view. Right. On top of that, all right. Now, granted, yes, there's some fights that he put on pay-per-view himself, no doubt about it. Like Fury Wilder 3, which was a pay-per-view fight, if we're honest, and of course Crawford Porter, which I would have preferred on free ESPN, but Porter wanted a lot of money, so did Crawford, so he was going to make some of it back. You know what I mean? Now, recently he did deliver on Shakur Valdez.
Mm-hmm.
right? And of course, he made some negative headlines too, which cost him a few spots. I think he might be a little higher in the rankings without the negative press, maybe 1 or 2 more spots. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the Godfather at age 90 in the power rankings, he's not even in his prime, and he's in the power rankings. Saying
right up there with Eddie Hearn on, and obviously promoters are a necessary evil, as Bernard Hopkins always said. But so they are who they are. But as far as consistent promoters, he's right up there with Eddie Hearn as far as consistency and providing some type of value to boxing fans. We're not getting enough value, but they're giving us some sort of value. Now, Nando said, just to circle back to this real quick, does that mean they've given up on Inoue as a U.S. star if they make this in Japan? No, I don't think so. Japan, huge market and huge fight out there. That's why they're trying to do Golovkin versus Murata out there. I mean, just big fight. Golovkin Murata is a big fight out there, and Inoue versus Donaire too is a big fight out there. So I don't think it's them giving up. I just think that's where the fight makes sense. Now 9 through 11, we don't agree. So let's throw out some names and see what sticks. See what we come up with. Now you had names such as.
Well, let me start with this one.
Go ahead.
I had Terence Crawford on my, and I had him like right in the middle too. I had him pretty high. Terence Crawford. Look, Crawford just finished his contract with Top Rank by knocking out Sean Porter, someone who's never been knocked out. Okay. People be, no, his dad stopped it. Okay. Well, whatever. Okay. Go to Box Rank. It says he finished him. Right. No one has ever finished the guy. So, I mean, the talent is unquestionable. He's one of the best talented fighters on the planet. And his numbers aren't there in terms of impact. His social media presence really isn't there. That does hurt him a lot. Okay. But the pay-per-view numbers weren't there. I get it. He should be on free ESPN, in my opinion, but he needs some of those more like PBC fighters. He needs a Spence fight, a Nugas fight, something like that, or move up to 154 and make an impact there. But I think the talent is so good that it needs to put him on this list, in my opinion.
That's a strong case. And I'm a big Bud Crawford fan. And yes, the Sean Porter fight. Yeah, I guess that will get him on the list. The problem that I have is it doesn't seem like anything's developing. And right after the Sean Porter fight, I'm like, finally. Yes, finally. And a lot of it, like I said, is out of his hands, what we were just discussing with Inoue. But it just doesn't seem like anything's going to happen from that. And we have the Top Rank lawsuit. So instead of him fighting anybody from 147, 154 at the top, and like you said, you've said it before, it comes a point in time when Paul Williams, when he couldn't get the fights at 147, what did he do? Moved up to 160, moved up to 154. It comes a point when you have to take chances, even fighting guys much bigger than you. And I just don't see Bud Crawford making those moves. I don't see Bud Crawford with the social media presence putting pressure on guys. He did it with Errol Spence for a little while, but then it went dark, and then he went dark on social media, and then he comes with the lawsuit of Bob Arum. Yeah. That's the type of stuff, the inconsistency that I'm seeing. But I have to admit, the talent and him beating Sean Porter, I think that lands him on the list. So I think we should put him at number 9. I would agree with you.
Okay. All right.
So we'll put Terence Crawford at number 9. Now, some names I would throw out there on my side: Chocolatito, Nonito Donaire, and Lomachenko. The reason people will kind of roll their eyes at Chocolatito, I felt like he beat Estrada, but he didn't get this decision. Estrada won. And it's been almost a year, so I understand negative there. But he tried to get the Estrada rematch. That didn't develop because of COVID. And then he's going to fight the number 1 guy in the rankings right next to him. Right? So
yeah. And Chocolatito's not a big 115-pounder himself. So he came from weight classes below Martinez, right? And he's older. So I think I wouldn't mind Chocolatito on the list, personally. I think he is making noise.
He's just a guy.
I mean, he was possibly possibly like I don't think he was robbed from the fight. I thought the fight was really close,
It was
right?
controversial, not right, not a
I
robbery.
wouldn't call it a robbery, but I think
Right,
what he was robbed of is like being that comeback fight of the year, and I still think he was a comeback fight of the year.
right.
I still think he was. You know what I mean? But because he is, people counted this guy out, and he showed them I still got it. You know, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was, is what he showed everybody that night against Gallo. He threw more punches than he's ever thrown. You know what I mean? Like he's never thrown that many, right? No two fighters combined have ever done that. So, and at that age, against a guy like Gallo, who in my opinion is a beast in that weight class, I mean, yeah, you could get him at 10. I don't mind him at 10.
Well, let's throw out some other names. Speaking of a comeback fighter, Lomachenko fought twice, and he's in the rumblings for Kambosos. And then another name to throw out there was Donaire. What he did, what he accomplished in 2021, and then he's in Rumorville for fighting
Right.
Inoue again. So he's a name to throw out there. A name that you threw out there that I like, and I want to put him on the list because I overlooked him on my list, is Ugas. Ugas
Right.
for retiring Manny Pacquiao. And then, no matter what you thought about Pacquiao at the time, Ugas was a heavy underdog in that fight. Retires Manny Pacquiao, and then he's going to fight Errol Spence Jr. back to back. I like Ugas. I think he belongs on this list. So
I think he made an impact. He also, he fought a pretty good fight against Pacquiao. It was a really good game plan.
It was.
The right hand was there, and there's still some impact to be made. I mean, look, he might be fighting Spence. Just that fight just being official makes an impact, right? But okay, where are we? We have 10 guys right now, so we only have one spot left. I just want to throw another name out there, okay?
What?
Right?
I know where you're going.
Ladies and gentlemen, and hear me out before the chat, okay, crucifies me or asks for my boxing fan card. And before you do that, okay, let me remind you that Calix Boxing nominated this man for the knockout of the year. Okay. Now he was overruled, but he was that close to getting the award. Now,
it was a great knockout.
The HCP knockout of the year. He almost won it. Okay. And it was a great knockout. So there's that. He is in boxing. He is boxing. MMA fighters, but he's boxing, right? He's being talked about. You want to talk social media presence? It's there. Okay. And then now he's also like a Bo Jackson. He's doing different things. Like now he's also like a promoter / manager. He turned Amanda Serrano to a $1 million fighter. Like, ladies and gentlemen, it's like $1 million baby in the flesh. You know what I mean? And if we're going to give Eddie Hearn credit for that, and that helped him in the power rankings, Jake Paul's got to get a little bit of an assist, ladies and gentlemen. Now, so this is what I want to do. All right. Now, I'm not going to give you Loma because while I think he had a great year, he just fell too back after that performance against Tio, and that loss is not aging well after Tio just got beat by Kambosos, right?
Fair.
So I can't do that. I can live with Ugas. I can live with Jake Paul, and I can live with Donaire. Look, Donaire is in his late 30s, making an impact with those knockouts. In my opinion, right now, the best left hook in boxing, right? I mean, ain't nobody got a hook like Donaire's, right? So he's there. I think we should leave it up to the people. I think we should have a vote, whether it should be Donaire, Ugas, or Jake Paul. That's what I think. I think the people should decide who's number 11. I just can't put I can't put Loma there. I think Loma is an honorable mention, right? I think Kambosos is an honorable mention, right? But I think the people should decide. That's what I think.
Donaire, Ugas, or Jake Paul. Y'all go real quick. I gotta be honest. I would pick Ugas. I think that's a strong argument. I can't. Dude, I just can't go with Jake Paul. The reason I can't go with Jake Paul, I'm going to use your own words against you. He hasn't fought a boxer. And that matters. You have to fight.
I agree.
You have to
I agree, but that's just like part of that's just that qualifies him. But like the Amanda thing and like raising the, like, you know what I mean? The impact he's making, those are big things too. You know what I mean?
And he's a
So
great trash
he's
talker.
making an impact. Like, you
And his
can't deny
social
that.
media presence is second to
Look,
none.
it may just be a shooting star. It might just be like he's in the power rankings for a little bit and then he disappears. But I think he's done enough just to like slide in. You know what I mean?
So we got Canelo, Fury, Usyk, Hearn, Josh Taylor, Katie Taylor, Inouye, Arum, um, Terence Crawford, Chocolatito, and for so far right now, it's Donaire.
It's Donaire.
So far, Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum ain't fought anyone. Callis, why not? Fair is fair. True.
Well, let's get it to the old man Donaire. It's okay. You know what I mean? The
But
people
Eddie
are
Hearn and Bob Arum have made more fights than Jake Paul.
oh, yeah, of course, yes.
I mean, come on.
That's why they're higher in the list.
So it's got to be Ugas or Donaire to me. But Jake Paul's right there. I mean, he's right there.
Donaire's winning from what I see.
Yeah. So we're gonna go with Donaire number 11.
Got to go Donaire, and I think Jake Ugas is right outside. Just some quick honorable mentions.
Mark Magsayo, honorable mention.
Yeah, you could put Magsayo there. You could put you could put Cambozas. I mean, Cambozas is a good honorable mention. You know, he made some noise. It's just that the body of work just hasn't been there for Cambozas. You know what I mean? Now, somebody might say, "Oh, come on, D-Style, you said Jake Paul, but Cambozas isn't promoting somebody, putting him in the biggest women's boxing match of all time." You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So like, it's just, there's a lot to it, but yeah, that's what I would say.
Lomachenko's right on the outside.
Loma's right outside for sure.
Ugas is a strong honorable mention, man.
Tank Davis is like one good fight away from just being in the rankings, but he just doesn't fight anybody, you know? Like,
yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, he lost the Cruz fight, so
yeah.
Just saying. I mean, Cruz might have made it if he actually got the decision, but
that's a strong list, though. That's a strong top 11. We'll be putting on Instagram. We'll be putting it on Twitter. We're sure we'll have people arguing who don't understand the criteria, don't understand the list. This is not a pound for pound list.
Oh, Stephen Fulton has to be there. Like, Stephen Fulton's just right.
He's right on the outside too. He's another guy I was looking at. Somebody mentioned Ioka. He's another guy, but it's impact too. It's impact too. You gotta keep that in mind. This is the impact.
It's impact, and your value drops if you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
This is the weekly impact power rankings. It's very fluid. It's going to be very fluid. And you're going to see guys pop up on this list that you're like, But remember, it's what's happening at the moment. It's a snapshot of who's hot at the moment. It's a lot of criteria. And these guys on the list and lady have made the initial top 11, and you will be seeing this.
It's Nando. It's the impact power rankings.
Impact power rankings. That's exactly it. Now, let's get to boxing trivia, the moment everybody's been waiting for. We got another 4 questions. We got 2 modern boxing questions from myself, and then we'll have 2 linear questions from D-Style, linking guys from here to over here. I always get confused with the camera angle from here to over here. You got to link them per fight. We have 2 of those.
Hey, by the way, do you remember that show, Boxing in the Hallway? Remember that show on YouTube? Yeah. There's boxing in the restroom, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. You know what I mean?
That was Chuck. That's my boy Chuck Nitty. I talk to him on Instagram all the time. Boxing in the Hallway. I remember those days. He had a great channel. But yeah, you got boxing in the bathroom right now, and you got the tub, you got the shower glass door that Zab Judah did not.
It would be hilarious if you set up the mic, you're like all like Scarface, you know what I mean, with a cigar or something, doing power punchers, you know, like, I don't know about that one, D-Style. I think Uga should be there. You know,
I'm in the bunker this week. I got somebody in my office / guest room, so I'm in the bunker. So this is, you got to do what you got to do, D-Style. We got to get people to show. You might hear a bathroom echo, but we got to get people to show.
That's right.
So first question, everybody get live. Make sure you're live. make sure you are live.
And make sure you're live. Make sure it says, like, make sure you look at the bottom. Don't be behind. A 4-second delay is everything, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean?
And look,
and then Run PMC's in here, so you guys could win this shit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I haven't seen him.
and look, Run PMC is defending champ again. I'm sure he's out there. We got HLD out there. We got Nando out there. We got Haplo out there. We got some heavy hitters out there who know some boxing. So I'm giving y'all some modern, easier questions, and then we'll get to the tougher lineal questions. And that's what we're gonna go with. I don't see the GOAT Mario P out there, so we'll see how much competition that our boy Run.
The GOAT might have retired like Tom Brady did, you know, after the loss. You know what I mean? So,
no, I think Run PMC can correct
just showed up. That's all he's been doing. Just waiting. You know what I mean? Just waiting for this moment.
Run PMC can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he defeated the GOAT Mario P last week in overtime.
Yeah.
Run PMC. So question number 1. Everybody get your fingers ready. Get your Alexa, get your Google ready. After suffering back-to-back defeats to Kelly Pavlik, Jermaine Taylor would go on to defeat which fighter in his next fight? He lost back-to-back fights to Kelly Pavlik. Who would he fight and defeat in his next fight? And yes, Run PMC did win last week in overtime.
Dun, 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 dun.
It wasn't Martinez. It wasn't Winky.
This is after losing to Pavlik twice, right?
It wasn't Arthur Abraham.
You said after losing twice to Pavlik, right?
Yep, there it is. Left Hook Lacey. Jeff Left Hook Lacey. Run PMC is on the board with.
Hold on. We've got to look at the replay here, ladies and gentlemen. HLD. It's we're taking out the chain and the seeing where the ball's at. And now Run PMC got through the line first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I see them both at 936. And Haplo got in at 936 too, but Run PMC got it in first.
But Haplo would agree though, like he didn't beat Jeff Lacey. He beat the shell that Kawasaki left of Jeff Lacey. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know if they're right though. You know what I mean?
And that was only Jeff Lacey's second loss too. But Jermaine Taylor came back and beat him. So yes, Jeff Left Hook Lacey was the victim. And Run PMC gets on the board first.
Wow.
Here's question number 2.
Unbelievable.
Here's question number 2. Let me try to read my handwriting here. And this involves Kelly Pavlik again. Which fighter did Kelly Pavlik upset before his upset victory of Jermaine Taylor? The fight before. Everybody should know this. There was a big press conference. This fighter was supposed to fight Jermaine Taylor. They were trying to set it up, and Kelly Pavlik came in and messed that up. Which fighter?
Run PMC he's gonna three-peat the first 3, bro. Like that's what's gonna happen. The people aren't stepping up. They're just letting him beat.
Which fighter did Kelly Pavlik upset before his upset victory of Jermaine Taylor? Let's see what we got.
No,
it wasn't Arthur Abraham. It wasn't Bernard Hopkins.
No, not Hopkins. He didn't even beat Hopkins.
This was a feared guy at the time. People forget. This was a feared, hard-punching guy at the time in the middleweight division.
Oh, come on, guys.
Nope.
Should we just run it out of time? Should we just count the time out?
This was right before his upset victory of Jermaine Taylor. The fight before. There it is. Haplo got it. Edison Miranda. Haplo is on the board.
Time? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ. Haplo comes in and saves it for the field, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? So it's not like a sweep by Run PMC.
And look, people got to remember, Edison Miranda was a feared guy. There was a press conference. They were trying to set up Jermaine Taylor.
That was a great fight, too.
Edison Miranda. They were talking back and forth at the press conference. Kelly Pavlik was sitting there quietly. Kelly Pavlik comes in and ruins Edison Miranda on his way to 2 straight upset victories.
The best part was, so Jermaine Taylor fought, was it Corey Spinks, right, in the main event? Merchant's like, well, so what do you think of the fight before this? Overrated. Like you think he's overrated? Like, no, I'm talking about Miranda. Like, yeah, but do you want to fight Pavlik if the money's right, Larry?
That's right.
Youngstown
That's
stand
right.
up.
Youngstown in the building. All right, so now we got your questions, D-Style. Once again, explain to everybody what this is, what's going on, and then give them the question.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay? We're going to connect two fighters that fought last weekend, okay? Makabu fought, won a very controversial decision, right? And Consecao won a decision. So we're going to start with first Makabu. Connect Makabu, and the way you connect them, by the way, so I just want to make sure I do this so everybody understands. You connect them with fights. So let me give it like another example. So connect Tyson with George Foreman, right? So you could say, okay, Tyson fought Holyfield, Holyfield fought Foreman, right? There you go. You could just do it that way. All right. That's a shorter way, right? There's no rule how you connect it as long as the fights connect, right? You go Tyson, Lewis, Tommy, Morrison, and then George Foreman, right? So there's many ways to do it. Of course, if you know a short way, it's better for you, right? So that's how we're gonna go ahead and connect this, okay? So let's go ahead and do this right now. Connect Makabu with Vladimir Klitschko. Go.
Cruiserweight to heavyweight. It shouldn't be difficult. Shouldn't be difficult. So you got to find who Makabu fought first, who you could connect. I'm just trying to help. Find a guy that Makabu fought who moved up to heavyweight.
That's right.
Let's see what we got. Lil Penny. Did Lil Penny get it? Makabu, Bellu, Hey, Vlad. There it is.
There it is. Yeah. There it is.
There it is. He got in
He
right
got it.
before. Wow. We got a shocker here. Got in right before Run PMC.
Okay. You check the replay? Check the replay?
Yeah, I got Lil Penny. I got Lil Penny first. 941, 941. Is that what it looks like on your side?
Yes.
So we got a three-way tie here. Lil Penny. I was not expecting somebody to get in before Run PMC there. That was nice. That was a nice play right
really
there
nice.
by Lil Penny. We got a good one here. 1-1-1. Haplo's got one. Run PMC's got one. Lil Penny's got one. Run PMC's legacy here. His it's all up for grabs here. I think Run PMC is a 6-time champion. So let's see if he can make it 7 times or if he's going to get upset. Give us that next question, D-Style.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So now we're going to go with the other fight of this fight. Consecao. Go ahead and connect. Right? Connect our boy Consecao with, who did I say? Hold on. Let me double check. With Carl Frampton. Consecao to Carl Frampton. All right. Current fighter just fought with a retired fighter, legend. That's the theme today. Who's going to go ahead and make that connection? Some dudes could win. They could win the whole thing with this one. You know what I mean? Consecao just fought this last weekend. Connect him with Carl Frampton.
Not easy.
Not easy.
Chicano Prophet in the building.
That's right.
Consecao to Carl Frampton, guys. And Consecao may have gotten robbed in his previous fight. Controversial, we'll call it that.
I'm just saying.
But pay close attention to that previous fight.
Y'all got to step up is all I'm saying.
We're going to give everybody about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. If nobody gets it, we're going to have a tiebreaker question, which I haven't come up with yet. Does G Funky have it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a one. That's another way to do it.
G Funky came out of nowhere.
And not only that, it's shorter than the one I had, actually, believe it or not. I had Frampton. Let's just double check. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I had Frampton. I had Valdez, Mariaga, Shakur Herring, Frampton. So there was another wave there, but there you go.
We have a four-way tie. A four-way tie at 1, which means I have to come up with a question that I haven't come up with.
You gotta come up with something off the top of your head. You know what I mean?
Is there anything off the top of your head that you can come up with? Because we got to give these guys a tiebreaker. We have to have a champion, and this is only between G Funky, Lil Penny, Haplo, and Rum PMC. Only those 4 can answer these questions. So if you're not one of those 4, do not answer this question. You got anything off the top of your head? Because I'm gonna have to come up with something here.
Oh man. Okay. Name me 2 fighters that defeated Marcos Antonio Barrera that Eric Morales beat.
Woo.
They both beat Marco Antonio Barrera. Eric Morales beat them both.
Wait a second. Is that right? Pack and Baltimore?
Baltimore, no. No, Baltimore never fought in either one of them.
Right. Wait, what we got?
Rum PMC got it. Jesus Christ. Junior Jones and Manny Pacquiao.
There it is. Rum PMC wins in overtime again. Second straight week. Rum PMC is getting pushed.
Baltimore? What's going on? All right.
I was trying to remember who Baltimore fought late in his career while Morales was late in his career. Because Morales was fighting some crazy fights late in his career.
Yeah.
So we got a 7-time champion. 7-time champion. And he got it in right before Haplo, by the way. A minute before Haplo. So I tell you what, that was a barn burner there.
Wait, somebody's saying Penny got it first. Hold up. We don't want any controversy here, okay?
Wait, yeah, let's get this, because hold on. I didn't see.
Oh, he did. Oh. He did. Yes.
He did. Goodness gracious. I'm glad y'all brought that up because I did not see that.
Pac Junior Jones. Yes. Wow. And that is correct, ladies and gentlemen. We looked at the replay. Nando threw the red flag. He threw the challenge, right? But did Little Penny already have a point?
Yes. Little Penny got back-to-back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just pulled a Harvey, right? And we announced the wrong winner. Sorry, PMC, we need that trophy back. Give me that, okay? Okay, here you go, Penny. Like he's trying to hang on to it.
D-Star, I had a Steve Harvey moment.
But like it's funny because like I'm trying to get the trophy back and Rum PMC like why? Like give me that thing, you know? Like here you go, Penny. You know?
Look, literally same minute.
Hey, Little Penny's the champ. You know, he has a belt, so.
Literally same minute, seconds before. Incredible performance by Lil Penny. I mean, just phenomenal. I can't believe Run PMC just lost in overtime. I mean, what a play by Lil Penny there. Comeback out of nowhere. So look, great job by Lil Penny. Lil Penny is the new champion. We'll be defending next week. Great job. And tell them where we're going next. Where we headed next?
Everybody go to Shoe Shine. They're not on this moment, but just go ahead and go over there, subscribe, and they'll be on, man. So with Drew Evo and 408, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody. Thanks to everybody. And if you're listening on archive, let us know what you think about the power rankings. Okay, so all that good stuff.
And let them know tomorrow too. What's the time?
Tomorrow, hey, 8 CP. It is ladies' night, so we'll have some ladies on, with us to talk some boxing. And then, of course, a round table on Thursday on my channel as well. So make sure you guys tune into that.
That's it. And we are out for the night, guys. I'm out from my bathroom bunker. God bless to everybody. And like always, D-Style.
Shout out to Lee Groves as well. Good comments in the chat.
Yeah. Peace.